Sure. Well, a word about UN Watch. It was founded in 1993, so that's 32 years ago, by a great American named Morris Abram. He was a civil rights leader in the early days, before it was remotely fashionable for any American. I'd say in the 1950s. He was a lawyer in Atlanta, and he grew up in a small town called Fitzgerald, Georgia. He actually served in the Nuremberg war tribunals with Justice Robert Jackson, prosecuting Nazi war criminals. Came back to Atlanta, was working as a lawyer, and saw the injustice of where the votes of Black people weren't counting the same in the county system in Georgia. Became very close with Martin Luther King Jr., helped him get out of prison, introduced him to the Kennedy family, and in the 1960s was a major figure in the civil rights movement, certainly one of the most prominent non-Black leaders of the civil rights movement. He won a case called Gray versus Saunders, Supreme Court case in 1963, which said that one man, one vote was the principle under U.S. constitutional law. It's on his epitaph. Morris Abram is buried, and on his epitaph it said he championed the principle in U.S. constitutional law of one man, one vote. And he served various U.S. presidents, eventually started as a Democrat, eventually became a Republican. His commitment to classical liberalism, I think he felt that the civil rights movement had gone astray by the 1970s and 80s, became about affirmative action, which eventually today we call DEI and things like that. And he thought that wasn't fair. He wanted to give every person equal opportunity, wasn't about equal outcomes. So by the 1980s already, the civil rights movement or the that kind of movement kind of shunned him because he did not embrace affirmative action, and he eventually felt in other ways that they had gone astray, and he became a Republican. He was appointed by George Bush the father to be U.S. ambassador in Geneva, which is the UN headquarters in Europe. And so he served for 4 years, from 89 to 93, as U.S. ambassador in Geneva, saw a lot about what had happened with the UN. He knew the UN. He had actually served on a UN committee in the 1960s, helped draft a convention against racism. But he saw how the UN had been hijacked. Dictatorships were winning positions to key bodies, a subject that we may come to in this discussion. And had the idea to create an independent body that would monitor the UN. It wasn't against the UN, but to see that the UN would live up to its founding principles, which are noble principles. And he created UN Watch, and he attracted leading figures like Jeane Kirkpatrick was on the board, other eminent figures from Sweden, the former Deputy Prime Minister Per Ahlmark,